This is the 7th video in my Attack on Titan arc analysis series, and in this video I'll be going over my favourite arc within the entirety of the Attack on Titan series, the Return to Shiganshina arc. The events leading up to this arc lead to the restoration of peace within the walls, and thus allows the Survey Corps to prepare for their expedition to the Shiganshina district. Now that the Survey Corps is stronger than ever, their aim is to reclaim the territory lost to the Titans. We only get to appreciate how difficult this task is after experiencing the events of this arc. There is a reason why this arc is my favourite within all of Attack on Titan, and why I consider it to be one of the best arcs within anime and manga. As Eren, Armin and Mikasa endeavour to return to their home, they encounter familiar enemies who are awaiting them, thus resulting in an all or nothing fierce battle. Let's go through all of the major events that occur within this arc and all the revelations that we learn, which help to pave the way for the future story of Attack on Titan. I'll be giving my honest thoughts and feelings on several key events which take place within this arc, so let's get into the analysis of the Return to Shiganshina arc. The Return to Shiganshina arc is the 7th story arc told within Attack on Titan. The arc features the return to the district where the story had begun. The characters of Eren, Mikasa and Armin are forced to return to their hometown, where the enemies of humanity had launched their attack against them. Led by Commander Erwin, the Survey Corps finally launched their counterattack, seeking to reclaim Wall Maria, and to learn about the truth hidden within the basement of Eren Yeager's home. This is my favourite story arc told within Attack on Titan, due to the stakes being higher than ever. Arguably, I'd even regarded as one of the best story arcs told within anime and manga. The characters that we have grown to love are pushed to their very limits, and are forced to make very difficult decisions that hold the future of humanity in the balance. We witness the characters at death's door several times during this arc, and the resultant story that unfolds is very unpredictable, and you are helplessly left at the edge of your seat eagerly anticipating the next chapter of the manga or episode of the anime. I love the way that the hopes of the Survey Corps are dashed, and they begin to feel hopelessness and despair. They overcome these emotions and challenge their opponents despite feeling fear and anxiety. It is one of the strengths of this arc, as it takes you through a roller coaster of emotions. I can vividly recall feeling a mixture of emotions when I had first read this arc, notably feeling hopelessness turning to fear, then sadness which very quickly changed to anger. Isayama took advantage of my attachment to these characters and how personally invested I was into the outcome of his story. The arc is split up into two portions, the first consisting of the main conflict between the Scouts and the Beast Titan, who is accompanied by Reiner and Bertolt, while the second, slightly shorter half focuses on the aftermath of the battle and the flashback of Grisha Yeager, which takes place after we finally reach the basement and learn the truth about the world and the Titans. So let's now dive into the breakdown of this arc and analyze the events that unfold. Before the Return to Shiganshina, Levi had a private discussion with Commander Erwin, as he shared with him his concerns over Erwin's involvement with this expedition. We know that Erwin had lost his arm during the invasion of Wall Rose 2 months ago. His life is at risk if he leads the Scouts during this mission, considering that he is now handicapped. Levi knows the importance of Erwin as a figure who can advise and lead humanity into a better future. He holds a lot of respect for him, citing him to be the reason that he had joined the Survey Corps in the first place. The arc barely begins and we are given an ominous warning, as Erwin refuses to allow anybody else to lead this mission, as he is too invested in the outcome of the mission. More than anything, Erwin desires to learn about the truth hidden within the basement. He bluntly tells Levi the truths of the world would mean more to him than even his own survival or the survival of humanity. This is one notable moment to remember before we delve into the rest of the arc. Another involves the injection containing the Titan serum, which was given to Levi by Kenny Ackerman. Before the mission begins, Erwin tells the other scouts that the injection would be used if a soldier were to be wounded and on the brink of death. Levi would safeguard the injection and would be called upon in order to turn the individual into a Titan, so that they can eat one of the Titan shifters. This plan of course relies on them capturing either Reiner, Bertolt or the occupant of the Beast Titan. In the meantime, while the scouts prepare, we learn that the user of the Beast Titan is called Zeke, and he wishes to capture Eren because he holds the powers of the founding Titan. Bertolt and Reiner had desired to rescue their captured friend Annie, but Zeke was opposed to this idea. Having convinced them, he advises them to stay within the Shiganshina district and to wait for the Survey Corps and Eren to come to them. While the Survey Corps were preparing, they too had been preparing to ambush them. Zeke had used his time to gather a large number of Titans to use against the scouts. As he plans plans a way to kidnap Eren and defeat the Survey Corps. After 2 months of planning, the scouts decide on the best route to arrive at Shiganshina. They had cleared the outer perimeter of Titans thanks to the Executioner of Hell, and they embark on their journey towards Shiganshina during the cover of night. Thankfully, they only come across a handful of dormant Titans, and they finally arrive at Shiganshina at the break of dawn. They return to this land that has been deserted for over 5 years, noticing that there are no threats within the area. Eren seals the outer hole within Wall Maria using his Titan hardening ability. However, the ever-vigilant Armin notices that a campsite had been set up on top of the wall and had found eating utensils for 3 individuals. This leads Erwin to deduce that their enemy had been anticipating their arrival, and as a result had made preparations in advance of the Survey Corps. He ends up giving Armin command to lead a search to locate the enemy. After searching the homes within the district, they find nothing, but Armin suspects that they may be hiding within the walls. Sure enough, after searching the structure of the walls, Reiner ends up revealing himself after he kills one of the scouts who had happened to find him. Levi immediately pounces on the enemy but is unable to deliver the finishing blow, thanks to Reiner protecting his own nervous system. He transforms into the Armored Titan as the battle to reclaim Wall Maria truly begins. The Beast Titan also reveals himself to the north of Shiganshina. We see that he is also accompanied by a group of Titans. Zeke, who is controlling the Beast Titan, appears to be focusing on eliminating the Survey Corps' method of escape. He collapses the north gate out of Shiganshina and blocks the scouts from leaving with their horses, with the Armored Titan appearing within Shiganshina and the Beast Titan attacking their horses from outside the city. The Survey Corps have found themselves now being targeted from 2 fronts. The Armored Titan begins to scale Wall Maria. It appears that he is targeting their horses that are on the other side. At the same time, the Beast Titan sends several Titans to charge towards the Survey Corps in order to attack them on their horses. Erwin prioritizes to defend their horses while sending Squad Hanji and Squad Levi to deal with the Armored Titan through using their newly developed Thunder Spears, which are strong enough to break through the Armored Titan's reinforced body. Levi was later forced to leave his squad under the command of Hanji, as he had returned to assist the scouts to the north of Shiganshina, who were defending their horses against the Beast Titan. This decision was for the best, as Levi is probably the only person who could take out the Beast Titan. Eren ends up transforming into his Titan form, as he acts as bait to prevent Reiner from climbing over the wall and killing their horses. The two battle within the district, as Eren utilizes his hardening ability to reinforce his fists before attacking the Armored Titan. This allows him to break his opponent's armor. Squad Levi and Hanji also intervene and fire their Thunder Spears to blind Reiner. They are once again feeling hesitation to attack their former comrade, but as they are left with no choice, they fire several Thunder Spears into the back of the Armored Titan's neck. After successfully breaking through the armor, they attack Reiner's body and blow out his brain, but as a last resort, he uses his Titan abilities to transfer his brain functions into the Armored Titan's brain. He had done this prior to his skull being damaged. The defeated Armored Titan lets out a loud roar, and this is similar to how Annie had done the same when she was in her female Titan form. We can assume that the Armored Titan is signaling for assistance, as we can expect the Colossal Titan to come to his aid any second now. The Beast Titan, hearing Reiner's scream, throws a barrel over the wall into the district. The intention is for Bertolt, who is hiding within the barrel, to transform mid-air to deal heavy destruction below him. He stops himself from transforming after he sees the Armored Titan badly wounded. Bertolt, who checks up on Reiner, realizes that he had survived the attack and tells him to lay on his back so he isn't hurt by his transformation into the Colossal Titan. Armin attempts to negotiate with Bertolt, and he once again resorts to making him feel anger by mentioning Annie being tortured. However, the same trick doesn't work on him twice. When the negotiations break down, Bertolt affirms his motive by stating that they all have to die, and there is nothing they can do about it. With this admission from Bertolt, his fate is sealed, as Mikasa can no longer stand by and hope for their former comrade to waver and return to their side. She attempts to kill Bertolt once it is confirmed that he is determined to kill those who reside within the walls. Her attempt to strike him from behind fails, as Bertolt escapes using his vertical maneuvering gear. He swings high into the air above the district as he finally transforms into the Colossal Titan. A large explosion erupts throughout the Shiganshina district, which causes heavy damage and casualties. We learn that Squad Hanji was taken out by the blast, but thankfully Squad Levi were not within the blast radius, so were unharmed. However, they are now the only surviving scouts within the district, and it is up to them to somehow put a stop to the Colossal Titan. Bertolt reassures himself that his actions are justified, as nobody is at fault for what is happening. He justifies his actions by stating that the world is a cruel place. This notion is once again hammered into our heads, but we see this being stated by the enemy this time, as the border between right and wrong is being muddied further. What is the reason behind Bertolt, Reiner and Zeke's actions? Can they really be the villains if they too can realize that the world is a cruel place? The world being a cruel place was also stated by Mikasa, who had said this to Eren while he was hesitating to transform and battle against the female Titan. Back in season 1, the colossal Titan begins to aimlessly destroy the buildings within the district, hurtling structures into the air as they fall into the district, causing further destruction. Armin, who feels outmatched, suggests that they regroup with Commander Erwin over the wall to the north of Shiganshina. Armin, who is overwhelmed by the pressure of the situation, overlooks an obvious flaw in his plan, as Jean has to remind him that the colossal Titan could hurl these buildings over the wall at them if they don't continue to distract him and keep his attention away from Erwin's group who are facing off against the Beast Titan. Armin hands control over to Jean as he frankly admits he has no idea what they are supposed to do now. He feels responsible for their current situation since he had misread Bertolt and had failed to negotiate with him earlier. He resigns himself from his leadership role and hands it over to Jean, citing that he is more suited for the role. Jean takes lead but does tell Armin that he may be able to read the situation and act on the ever-changing landscape of the battlefield, but it is still up to Armin to devise a plan to get them out of this mess. They are counting on Armin, and this is heavily implied as the colossal Titan begins making his way towards the northern wall. Eren in his Titan form attempts to stop him but is kicked away by the towering Titan. Soaring through the sky, he lands on top of the wall and falls unconscious. The other scouts are left with no choice but to defeat the colossal Titan, relying on nobody but themselves as their situation becomes hopeless. Squad Levi attempts to attack Bertolt with their final few thunder spears, but the steam of the colossal Titan prevents them from grappling onto it. The steam also pushes back any of the spears that are fired towards the Titan. The scouts are hurt by the gusts of hot steam and the deflected thunder spears. Mikasa asks Armin if he has any plan to fight back against their enemy, but a defeated Armin offers no hope as there is nothing that they can do. To add to their hopeless situation, the armored Titan has now recovered and rejoined the battle. The expressions of shock and fear on the faces of Mikasa, Armin and Jean convey how utterly defeated the scouts must feel within the district. Armin does note that the colossal Titan's steam attacks had been gradually reducing its muscle mass. After this observation, he leaves to wake up Eren, while the other scouts attack the armored Titan. Armin has a plan which involves the colossal Titan consuming all of the flesh on his body through the steam he creates. If successful, the giant Titan will be unable to move as it will have lost all of its muscle fibers, effectively turning it into a large immobile skeleton. After waking up Eren, he relays to him his plan to defeat Bertolt. Armin remembers speaking to Eren about the feeling of attaining freedom from the walls. If his plan proves to be successful, he may not get to see the ocean, which he had been longing to see. He instead knows that Eren will see the ocean on his behalf. After hearing Armin's plan, Eren's Titan falls to the ground near the northern gate of Shiganshina. Meanwhile, Armin appears in front of the colossal Titan and uses his vertical maneuvering gear to grapple onto its tooth. Bertolt tries to use his steam ability to repel Armin, but he is firmly attached to his teeth as they are unaffected by the gusts of heat. The colossal Titan continuously unleashes a stream of heat, wanting to get rid of Armin, but he persistently stands before him as his flesh and hair slowly begin to burn away. Armin remains attached to the Titan until he falls unconscious due to his heavy injuries. He falls to the ground as we can assume that he has sacrificed himself after being scorched to death. He had desperately bought more time for Eren as he kept Bertolt's attention away from him. Armin entrusted his life and his dreams to Eren, as this is everything he has to give. He had sacrificed himself so that Eren can make it to the ocean that they both had dreamed of and hoped to see as children. Bertolt soon realizes that Eren had used his Titan hardening abilities to create a decoy of himself on the ground. Before he can do anything about it, Eren suddenly appears behind the colossal Titan, similar to how he did in the 5th episode of season 1, but this time he is successfully able to cut the nape of the Titan and drag out a limbless Bertolt, finally putting a stop to him. He then stands over the burnt remains of Armin, recalling how they had promised each other that one day they would see the ocean together. The armored Titan had tried to stop Eren, but he was stopped by a thunder spear which was fired to his knee. He had forgotten his memories up until the morning, so consequently had forgotten how effective the thunder spears were. Squad Levi had formulated a plan to use their remaining thunder spears to take out Reiner. With the 3 remaining spears, they planned for 2 to be used to target the Titan's jaw muscles, and a final spear to be fired into the mouth to blow out Reiner through the back of the armored Titan's neck. Connie was able to successfully fire his spear and land his mark, but Sasha was injured and missed her target. Thankfully, Hanji is revealed to have survived the explosion from the colossal Titan's transformation and successfully attacks the jaw of the Titan with her spear. With this, they are able to unhinge the jaw of the armored Titan as Mikasa fires the final thunder spear into the armored Titan's mouth as Reiner is thrown out of the Titan's nape. They finally capture and immobilize him by blinding him and cutting off his limbs. So while Squad Levi and Hanji were dealing with Reiner and Bertolt within the Shiganshina district, the scouts to the north of the wall had been pushed into a corner where success seemed highly unlikely. They were up against the Beast Titan and his horde of Titans, Titans, who had trapped and targeted them. Zeke had been throwing crushed boulders towards the scouts, which were being gathered by his strange accomplice, the Cart Titan. The boulders which had been raining down on them had caused mass casualties, reducing their manpower and the number of horses that they have for escape. Despite the experience of the scouts on the front line, they were no match against a bombardment of large boulders, which very effectively tore apart their front line of defense. The survivors took cover behind structures and buildings. Erwin had joined them after descending down Wall Maria in order to regroup with Levi and the others, in order to devise a strategy to counter the Beast Titan. They had no knowledge of what was going on within the district, so they ruled out escaping into there, assuming that the Colossal Titan would be active, which would make it impossible to ensure their safety. After they witness Eren's Titan land on top of Wall Maria, the new recruits begin to panic, as the hopelessness of their situation sinks in. They are trapped from two fronts, as it appears that the scouts within the district are losing their battle. Levi suggests to Erwin that they get Eren an escape, while he stays behind to confront and battle against the Beast Titan on his own. Erwin instead proposes another all-or-nothing strategy. This plan does prove to be effective in defeating the Beast Titan, however, it comes at a heavy cost. Erwin's strategy involves the deaths of the new recruits and even himself, as the plan entails Erwin leading the new recruits to their death in a full frontal charge towards the Beast Titan, directly taking on the raining boulders, distracting Zeke, while Levi takes out the Titans around the perimeter and attacks the Beast Titan from his blind spot. At this point, what choice were they left with? Staying there doing nothing would have resulted in them being attacked by another stream of rocks raining down on them. The plan causes fear and panic within the new recruits, as some of them even begin to throw up at the prospect of losing their lives within mere moments. Erwin is even asked by a tearful recruit if they are about to die, to which he coldly replies yes. If they don't move, then they will die anyway. Erwin's logic is that if death is certain, then they may as well die fighting. Erwin prepares his soldiers for the unthinkable, as the corpses which weigh in his conscience are about to increase once more. I mean, at this point, how many have died while under the command of Erwin? What peace of mind can he offer to the scouts when he himself is about to meet the same fate as them? What is to become of your hopes and dreams when you are crushed by a boulder? Does the life that you lived cease to hold any meaning after meeting such a cruel demise? Erwin tells his soldiers we all die sooner or later. The fact that they lived holds meaning in itself. If they were to reflect upon their dead comrades who had given their lives so that they could stand where they are today, did they give up their lives for a meaningless effort? Erwin's final rally to inspire the troops is a reminder that their fallen comrades did not die in vain, and in the same way, their final charge will not be meaningless. Those who give their lives so humanity will be honored, as Erwin endeavors to bring meaning to their sacrifice by offering up his lives and the lives of his survey corps in order to defeat the Beast Titan. Erwin states that this is the only way for them to rebel against the cruel world, which is once again referred to here. They have to trust that the next generation will honor their sacrifice and be able to gain something from it. Erwin's decision to sacrifice himself came with immense hesitation, as he would lose his opportunity to see the basement, which holds the answers to the questions he had longed for his whole life. Levi, who respects and understands his ordeal, makes the decision for him, telling him to abandon his dreams and lead the recruits to their death, while he promises to defeat the Beast Titan. And sure enough, Erwin leads the recruits on a full frontal charge, as they use their signal flares to impair the aim of Zeke. Levi, with a heavy heart, begins to take out the Titans surrounding them. Unnoticed, he makes his way towards his target in the middle of the blockade. The Beast Titan is angered by the Survey Corps' willingness to give up their lives, as he continues firing crushed boulders towards them. The first wave of rocks strikes Erwin as he is taken out along with several others. The second and third attack take out all of the remaining recruits, putting an end to their final charge. It is at this moment that Zeke realizes that the Titans to his right and side had been killed. He is then ambushed by Levi. The Beast Titan, who hadn't expected Levi to be as strong as he is, was overwhelmed and easily cut down. This moment had given me a great deal of satisfaction. After heart-wrenchingly watching the sacrifice of the scouts, Levi exacts his revenge and makes Zeke pay for the fun that he was having at the expense of Erwin and his recruits. Levi wonders if any of the recruits had survived the barrage of attacks, as he plans to use the serum from the injection to revive them by consuming Zeke and inheriting his Titan power. However, the Cart Titan comes to Zeke's aid and takes him away from Levi as it rushes towards Wall Maria, and in turn the remaining Titans are sent after Levi to hold him back. He instantly takes them all out and pursues the Cart Titan. While Levi chases after Zeke, a lone survivor from the Beast Titan's attack discovers that Erwin is barely alive. However, he needs the Titan injection from Levi so that he can eat one of the enemies in order to survive. Erwin is carried from the battlefield towards Levi in an attempt to save his life. This now brings us up to speed with the events that had occurred within the Shiganshina district. Now we are faced with a difficult decision as we wonder who the injection will be used to save. The noble Erwin, who had given up on his dream, or Armin, Armin, who had longed to see the ocean until the final moments of his sacrifice. Zeke finds Bertolt being held hostage by Eren. They identify each other as Eren realizes that he is the Beast Titan. Zeke here strangely reveals to Eren that both of them are the victims of Grisha Jaeger. Zeke ends up retreating before saying anything else after he notices that Levi has caught up to him. Before leaving, he does say something noteworthy to Eren, that he would one day return for him. Levi was unable to follow Zeke since he needed Eren's vertical maneuvering gear, his gas and blades. But Eren realized that Armin was still alive after hearing him cough. Shockingly, after being burnt alive repeatedly by the colossal titan, Armin has somehow managed to remain alive, but barely. But if he isn't given the titan injection, then he will surely die. The other scouts had apprehended Reiner and tried to press him for information. He handed them a letter for Historia that was written by Ymir. After the scouts decide that killing Reiner would be an appropriate course of action, he is saved by Zeke and the cart titan. Grabbing him, they retreat from Shiganshina over Wall Maria, and so the remaining scouts within the Shiganshina district regroup with Eren and Levi. Levi was ready to administer the injection to Armin, but he is interrupted by the news that Erwin is also on the brink of death. The conflict now arises as Levi believes that Erwin should receive the injection, while Eren and Mikasa are adamant that Armin, their friend, should be saved, even resorting to forcefully taking the serum from Levi. The other scouts arrive and sympathize with Eren and Mikasa, but hold them back as they too believe that Erwin should be saved. His leadership has helped them to get to this point after all. This cruel world was challenged consistently by the Survey Corps, who were led by Erwin. Now a cruel dilemma befalls the scouts. Levi orders to be left alone to give Erwin the injection. While he is alone with Erwin, he second guesses his decision. He realizes that Erwin had let go of his dreams and ambitions, and had accepted his death prior to charging against the Beast Titan. As he is about to inject Erwin, using the last ounce of his strength, Erwin raises his hand, moving it away, rejecting the offer to be brought back to life. This is his opportunity to finally end his experience of the cruel world. He could finally rest in peace. After this, Levi appreciates that Armin has yet to realize his dream. He has yet to live the rest of his life with his friends, and it is for this reason that he changes his mind and injects Armin with the serum. The cruelty does not end here, however, as Armin transforms into a titan and devours Bertolt, who begs and pleads for his life. He even asks his former comrades within the Survey Corps to save him. In his dying moments, you cannot help but to feel sorry for him, especially after knowing the pain and suffering he had endured, holding his feelings back and never having the opportunity to confess to Annie how he had felt about her. This adds to the cruelty of the moment, as Attack on Titan excels in displaying unfair situations and moments which rob any meaning from individuals' lives. Imagine living with dreams, hopes, and relationships, for them all to be taken away from you through mindless violence. There is nothing honorable about being killed in such a cruel manner, being eaten alive, feeling pain, and helplessly realizing that your life amounted to nothing in the end. Erwin's final battle cry served as an answer to this. During this arc, the Survey Corps had fought to bring meaning to the lives that were taken in battle previously, to honor the sacrifices of those who fought before you, and to fearlessly charge in the face of cruelty is what the Wings of Freedom symbolize for me. It is a testament to Isayama's ability to write a story as he can make you feel sympathy for even an antagonist like Bertolt. We know that his story ends here, and Annie will never know how Bertolt felt about him, nor will his family ever see him return home. During this arc, we realize that Bertolt and Reiner were only following orders, but for what purpose? We find out more about the birthplace of Reiner, Bertolt, and Annie as we finally direct our attention over to the basement. After Armin is saved, the 9 surviving members of the Survey Corps regroup and discuss what they will do now that Erwin has died, as we are about to experience a highly anticipated moment that we have all been waiting for since the first season back in 2013, as Eren, Mikasa, Levi, and Hanji finally return to Eren's home and make their way into Grisha Jaeger's basement to discover the truth of the world. The key that Eren was given by his father did not fit into the door of the basement. This door had to be broken down. The key instead fit into the keyhole found on a desk within the basement. Within the drawer they found 3 books titled The Early Life of Grisha Jaeger, the second titled Titans and Everything Known of History, and the last book, Information About the World Beyond the Walls. In the first book they found a photograph, which is an invention that they had not seen before. It wasn't a sketch, as they realized it was a moment of time captured onto a piece of paper. It was a photo of Grisha and what appeared to be his first wife and his son. They read through the book The Early Life of Grisha Jaeger as they learn about the subjects of Ymir. They were a group of people called Eldians who served the royal family, who had been the descendants of Ymir. The Eldians had ruled the world until they were defeated by an opposing nation called Marley during the Great Titan War. The Eldians had escaped onto an island called Paradise Island, isolating themselves within the 3 walls, Maria, Rose, and Sina. And it is the Marleyan Eldians that now control the land beyond the ocean. The remaining Eldians who live on their land are segregated into isolated areas, and it is here that we learn Grisha was raised. It is revealed that while Grisha was a young boy, his younger sister was killed by the Malayan military. This results in him joining a group of rebels called the Eldian Restorationists. Grisha had married a woman called Dina Fritz who had royal blood flowing through her. They both had a child called Zeke, who they had wanted to obtain the power of the founding titan so that they could restore Eldia. Zeke was sent to become a warrior, but he had betrayed his family and the Eldian Restorationists by revealing their plans to Malay. Grisha, his wife, and the other members of the group were sent to Paradise Island, where they were injected with the Titan Serum and transformed into Titans. Before Grisha was transformed, however, he was saved by one of the Malayan soldiers called Eren Kruger. He had infiltrated into the military and was the spy that was giving the Eldian Restorationists inside information on Malay. Eren Kruger had ordered Grisha to obtain the powers of the founding titan, since they are concealed somewhere within the walls. Grisha was then transformed into a titan and had eaten Eren Kruger, thus obtaining the powers of the attack titan. After Eren and the others had read about the people of Eldia and Malay through Grisha's journal, they returned to the Trost district. Eren and Mikasa were imprisoned for their insubordination with Levi. While Eren was imprisoned, he was able to access the memories of his father through his founding titan ability, which he had inherited from his father. He had learnt that the writings of his father were consistent with his memories, confirming that his father was telling the truth. Eren had also realized that Dina Fritz was the titan that had killed his mother. He realizes that he was only able to access the abilities of the founding titan after he had punched the titan of Dina Fritz, which means that he can utilize the founding titan's abilities as long as he is in contact with an individual from the Fritz bloodline. After the battle, the military assessed the books from the basement and honored the deaths of the 199 scouts who had died so that they could safely receive this information, which could benefit humanity. They concluded that the only way to defeat the enemy beyond the walls, which appears to be the entire world which is against Eldia, is to use the powers of the founding and colossal titan in order to survive. Eren did not disclose to them that he was able to use the founding titan's abilities after he had punched the titan of Dina Fritz back in season 2, because he realized it would be better to keep this information to himself in order to protect Historia, since there is every chance that they may exploit this information by turning her into a titan and utilizing the abilities of the founding titan through her. And so the 9 surviving members from the expedition to Shiganshina were honored and celebrated. When Eren kisses the hand of Queen Historia, he makes contact with an individual with royal blood, and this causes him to recall another memory with his father. What Eren sees here isn't immediately revealed to us, but it is crucial in explaining his actions in the future arcs. After the conclusion of this arc, the titans outside the Trost district were eliminated thanks to the use of the Executioner from Hell, and eventually every single titan within Wall Maria was killed by the winter of that year. And by the time that it was spring, humanity had already reclaimed the land of Wall Maria, as people had begun to move back into Wall Maria for the first time in 5 years. And then exactly a year after the Battle of Trost, where Eren had first transformed into his titan form, the scouts set out for an expedition beyond Wall Maria, the first expedition beyond the walls since 6 years ago when the colossal titan had first appeared. The land beyond Wall Maria did not contain any titans, since they had all travelled into the walls and were eliminated there. After enough travel, the scouts eventually reached the end of Paradise Island, as they saw the borderline where the Malayans would transform the Eldian prisoners into titans. Beyond the border, the scouts finally see the ocean and realize that their battle for freedom has not ended yet. There is an enemy beyond the ocean that has been targeting them that must be eliminated. We can assume that Annie, Reiner, Bertolt, and Zeke all came from beyond the sea. The ocean serves as the final barrier between themselves and their enemy. Their battle is far from over, as Eren realizes this all too clearly, while contrastingly Armin is just grateful for the moment that he can finally touch the ocean, that his dream of finally witnessing a salt lake that stretches as far as the eye can see is actualized. Now at the end of this arc, it is a turning point for the story of Attack on Titan, as gradually throughout the story Eren has been slowly losing his humanity, and we see his loss of humanity actualized as the story progresses, and he comes into conflict with his allies and his childhood friends. This perfectly wraps up the events of the Return to Shiganshina arc and takes us into the Malay arc. A lot of people that I know started to have issue with the story of Attack on Titan with the start of its 8th arc. I will discuss more about this in the next video, and hopefully piece together the building blocks that Isayama had laid for his finale of Attack on Titan. So I'm looking forward to seeing all of you in the second to last video in my Attack on Titan arc analysis series, and I can't wait to read your comments on the Return to Shiganshina arc. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more like it, then please consider supporting my channel on Patreon. I have multiple tiers with rewards including access to an exclusive Discord server, video scripts, as well as being the first to know about unreleased upcoming videos. Thank you for your time, and whatever you choose to contribute I will appreciate, and it will mean a lot to me.